Hello everyone, myself Janisha from St. Joseph Composite PU College, Vijaypur. In the last episode, we have discussed about some of the features or the properties of indifference curve. Today, we'll continue further more features of indifference curve. We'll continue that properties of indifference curve. Next, sixth one, indifference curves cannot be parallel. That means, dear students, you know that indifference curve shape, you know that. So indifference curve always be sloped downwards, but not a downwards, straight downwards. And also indifference curve cannot be a parallel each other. That means if they are parallel, then the diminishing marginal rate of substitution is the same on all the indifference curves. As a consumer goes for a higher budget line and a higher indifference curve, the marginal rate of substitution will diminish but need not be at the same rate, and also it can be different. So that we can say that indifference curves cannot be parallel. Next feature, indifference curve will not touch either x-axis or y-axis. Dear students, you just observe these diagrams here. In this first diagram here, this curve will be touches with the y-axis. And also in the second diagram, so this curve will be touches with the x-axis. And also this diagram reveals that means this first diagram reveals that the consumer is having only commodity X, that is at point L. So this is reveals that at the point L, so this is reveals that what that consumer prefers only one commodity. And also in the diagram, in the curve second one here in this curve, this is touches with the x-axis, that is at the point M. That means if it is consumer choose any one of the commodity, then it will reach us to either x-axis or it is in the y-axis. So that is the reason indifference curve always we know that the different level of combination and also with the two commodities will get the equal level of satisfaction. So that is the reason we can say that indifference curve will not touch either x-axis or the y-axis. Next property, indifference curves cannot intersection each other. Students, you just observe here in this diagram, we can see that here both the curves are intersect with each other, right? Usually indifference curve will not be touch or will not be intersect with each other. Two indifference curves never intersect one another because they represent two different sets of combinations of two goods and which providing unequal level of satisfaction. So that in this diagram shows that two indifference curves, that is IC1 and IC2, cut each other at point A. Thus, point A reflects equal level of satisfaction from the two different indifference curve, which is unrealistic according to the assumption. So that we can say that indifference curves cannot intersection each other. Another one property, an indifference curve cannot be a downward sloping straight line. So here indifference curve cannot be downward sloping straight line. It is not a straight line. Yes, indifference curve is not a straight line, but it is downward sloping. So if it is shown in this diagram like this, if it is indifference curve means, then marginal rate of substitution will remain constant. So that this is also unrealistic. So this case we can say that indifference curve cannot be downward sloping. Okay, students, straight. So line. These are the properties or the features of a indifference curve. Now we'll move on some exercise questions. 1. What are the properties of indifference curve? Explain. Question number 2. Why the indifference curve cannot be downward sloping straight line? Why did indifference curves cannot be intersect each other? These are the questions you need to write compulsorily. Thank you.